Good afternoon. I have made it back into the shop and I finally have a few minutes to start working on a bug, but I was going to take you just a very quick overview again, and then I'm going to try to do a little more time lapse and just let you see some of the stuff I'm doing. Yeah, it's been a good Christmas break slash back to work break slash making a bunch of miles and being trapped by COVID. So all that said, we're moving forward. So hey, have a look at some of this. So here we are. As you remember, I rebuilt that motor, and it hasn't started. I had a bit of a fuel leak, and figuring all the welding I'm doing, I figured better not fix anything there right now. I'll wait for that to keep on going. I did set this, and that's a piece for back here. But let's have a quick gander here. Okay, I think I've shown you all this before, but that was Swiss cheese with rust, and now it is all smartened up. Down there was just a mess, and you remember that the door stood out just grotesquely out of alignment and stuff, and now it's still not fantastic, but it's as good as it's going to get for now. The front that was just a huge, right there, that was just all rust, and I had to cut all that out, and then I put another whole panel piece in there. And then this was all rusted out, and I welded several pieces in there. And I recognized when I was done all this, I hadn't done a very good job of showing you guys the process I went through with that, but a good thing that has happened is that my welding has gotten significantly better. I'm coming around the front. And something else I didn't show anything on, but I could not find a hood to save my life. I have looked and looked and looked and looked. And so I started doing some body work. Yeah, I got to clean that up yet. But if you look down this, it's not shiny, but pretty snazzy. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, it's all kind of discolored and stuff like that, but I've put some Bondo in, a little bit of primer putty here and there, trying to fix things up, trying to do some sanding. I've come to realize that all the way around here is let's see it better here, right here. That's some pinstriping someone put in, and I'm having just a heck of a time getting it out. I'm going to get my torch out and see if I can't apply a little heat and get it out. So today is the day I work on this. Now if you look back in there, well, see, it's all Swiss cheese in there. It's all rusted. That's all rust. That's all rust in there. And so I'm hoping that panel will replace all the goop. And what that panel doesn't replace, you can see it's rust up there, and I'll cut all that out. And that's why I have pieces from the fuel tank and stuff I can cut out and make patches out of that. And also on the front fender, look down there, you can see down there, that's all rust. And so I'll be pulling the fenders off, be getting the big wire brush out, taking that wire brush to it all and taking care of things. This little welder, I've actually been quite happy and satisfied. My welding has gone up exponentially, but it really only had one direction to go. That hinge is broken. Gonna have to repair that. So anyway, I'm gonna set this up. And one other little thing that you guys might be interested in. Princess Auto had this stand for $1. Yep, that's not a stand to hold your iPad, but this handy dandy chunk of haywire makes it work. So that's my new iPad holder, and it actually works really well. So for $1, I like it. So I'll be setting this up and probably doing some time lapse and pulling fenders and doing other things. And one last thing. My wife was here the other day and she loves drawing our initials. You'll see that WS plus TS in our concrete work and anywhere she can initial it. She's still a romantic at heart, so that's why I love her. So yeah, hang on and hold the horses. We're going to be doing this in fast, or I'll be moving in slow motion, but on hopefully with time lapse it'll make it look like I'm going fast. Well, there it is for all to see. I have quite a little bit of cutting and welding to do there, but that doesn't frighten me too much anymore. I'm getting actually better at it. And a little bit of cutting and welding there, so I'll probably tackle that first, work my way from the front to the back. So the first thing I'm going to do though is try to clean this all up. So we'll set you back and let you check that out. And I found that using a brush works, but it sure makes it's like I'm in the middle of a dust storm. So, okay, getting wet. This is also my fire extinguisher. Got a good one over there. This is the one I use right now, in case I get a little bit of a fire here somewhere. Well, that's not coming off as well as I'd hoped. So it's time to get the steel brush out. Don't know where I bought the steel brush, but I sure like it. Well, the more I spun this, the less impressed I am. You can see I got quite a bit of rust going on here. So I'm going to have to probably weld a piece in, catch this from behind, just kind of weld over that, I guess. I don't have to, I just want to bring the structural strength. And I believe this is perhaps that I had a front end collision, I don't know. Let's have a look on the other side. So we have about that much of a bubble on that side. And we have a little bit of a bubble on that side. Not nearly the same amount. Well, I guess, you know what? You know what? If I were to take a hammer, this up here is about the same. This up here is about the same. Just down here is looking a little bit wonky. I might be able to take a hammer and just tap that down and bring it around a little bit. I think that's what I'll do. Just try to get a little bit straighter on what it is. But yeah, now I got to cut this out, and cut this in here out. I just want to cut along here, because this is an I-beam, like it goes that way, half, 3/4 of an inch. And same thing up here. So I'm just going to cut this out, probably right up to here, down, and this way. And then replace that piece, and I've got some heavy metal for that. And then weld tin over all this, and I've got lots of tin, so I'll make that work. So, all right, that's what I did on the other side. Let's get at her. Okay, that's what it looks like after cutting it out. Get a closer look at it there. You see that metal inside there, it's sort of like goes around like a box. I've got lots I can weld to all the way along here, on there. So I'm just going to cut a piece. I'm just going to cut a piece a little bit wider than this, hole in there with some magnets, and zip it on there. I'll clean this all off first. I'll take some files or something like that and clean that up, and so I can get it nice and tight from the back all the way along. Then up here, I'm just going to weld some other good tin over the top of this, and I'll get this all cleaned up. I'll probably take I'll take my zip saw and cut some of this stuff off too. It looks just nasty. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. All right, we've progressed a bit since I showed you last. I cut out, you can notice there's a lot of rust all through here, and I'll be patching that up right away here too. But underneath here is I welded in a plate like that, which is that way. That way to be exact. You catch the curve of that, and if you notice it's a little thicker. Anyway, I welded that in there, and I welded it right into where the frame was, and so I feel fairly comfortable that'll be. And then I took and I put this piece over the top of it all, and eventually I'll drill holes right through here, and essentially make it so that it will look like that with the holes drilled through, and so that I can put bolts in to my bumper. So what I thought I'd do right now is I'm going to try doing a little spot welding. So there it is. It's just a bunch of tack welds I do, and then I dress it with that grinding wheel with the sandpaper on it. And I'm just going to keep filling in. Weld between each one of those welds. And I'll weld between each one of those welds up there. And I'll just keep dressing it in. You can see I popped a little bit of a hole right there, but the welder, I'm welding into a little bit of rust, and I try to clean that up as much as I could with the grinding wheel, and it's still a little bit of rusty, and that's just MIG welders are real fussy about not getting into weld or into rust. So anyways, it's coming along, and I'm happy with that. And then I'll be patching a piece right from here over to here and kind of bridging that and filling that all in. Well, I've gotten this dressed out a little bit, and it's cleaning up not too bad. And I've just cut a template out of cardboard to fit into there. And so I'll be cutting that on out of some metal, and then I will be welding that into place. So I'm hoping that that'll work out really well. This is the finished or semi-finished product. I still have to beat this out a little bit here. I cut the rust out. I cut the rust out that was in here, and then now I've patched over it in here. And this is all weld through primer, really high in zinc. And so I love this stuff. It's pretty expensive primer, but I really like it. I treated all the inside of that with rust cure. And so I sprayed it all down, was very liberal with it inside there. And so now I'm just going to do a little more tin bashing and get that straightened out just a bit more of where I'm liking it a little bit more. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of Bondo over it in a quicksand. Nothing serious, just to literally to plug any holes and to help everything come together really well. The patching is not real pretty, but it's strong, and it should work really well. Then as soon as I get that done, I'm going to drill the holes right in here for my bumper to fit on. And so I've welded that patch on the inside and this plate over the top of it. So yeah, it ain't pretty, but it should do the trick. And I'm getting happier with my ability to weld, even though it's not great yet. So anyway, hang in there. You never know, I might turn into a welder. So this is where we're at right now, and I'll give you a shot after it's all sort of said and done, and I'll wind this video up. So this is, I'm just going to paint over this. I always, that's a gross exaggeration. I've started just using a little bit of Bondo, just so that it fills in the gaps, and hopefully stop any rust from wanting to develop in there. I noticed as I was sanding, I can see some additional, I'm sanding up a little bit of rust from before, and I thought I'd taken a big steel brush and clean that all up real good. So I'm going to hit it one more time, clean everything up the best that I know how, and then I'm going to do a quick spray bomb trim clad rust paint in here. Something to notice is that if you notice right here, there's a welding bead all the way along here, and what that tells me is that this whole panel here has been replaced, and they were, so this must have gotten into this must have been in an accident. This was all totaled off, and they carved out, or maybe it was really rusted bad before. The other side is not like this. This side is the one that's just welded together. So, and if you notice, they did a really horrible job of the Bondo before. It just drips of Bondo. And I see that all over, and inside here just drips of Bondo. So I'm going to try to clean a little bit of that up too while I'm at it here. And then when I'm done, a little bit of cleanup and a spray job here, I'm going to be going over to there and starting to work on that rust and trying to see what I can get cleaned up there. So yeah, one last shot, and then I'm going to, well, and that's a wrap. I cleaned up that top weld a whole bunch with my sander, and not too disappointed. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of make out where I have had some welding and stuff in there, but it's mostly, I just want to stop that rust, and so I think it's looking pretty good. It's a done deal. You notice I just used wire cutters and cut that off, and that's because they were just already cut off and they just had those crimp-on things. So I will be doing some soldering on those wires and using heat shrink tubing to put it all back together again. I wasn't very happy with the way that was, but well, I think that's about got it for this little episode. I'm pretty happy that that front bumper turned out relatively well. I'll have to get someone out there to help me to hold the bumper into place, or the bumper holder turned out well. I'll get somebody to help me hold the bumper into place so that I can get holes drilled properly and everything marked out. So I'm starting to work on that back rust area, and it's coming together fairly well. I'll hopefully have another episode together here before too long. That's kind of the way I go. I do a bunch and then I'm off for a month and I do a bunch more. So yeah, doing it like that, you're never going to get thousands of followers, but I'd be real happy with tens. So I'm okay. So the Lord bless you, and we'll talk to you real soon.